Alright, so today let's talk about a couple of things that you should know before buying the Canon EOS R5. And obviously the Canon marketing team is really good and they know how to promote their cameras, but in most cases it's all about the details. So let's talk about them. Okay, so what's up and welcome back to another video on this channel, and I hope you had a fantastic day. And yes, today it's time to talk about a couple of things that you should know about the Canon EOS R5. Because back then I actually got this camera on release day, so I actually have this camera here for a while, and still today I absolutely like to use it as my main camera. But especially if I compare my thoughts about the Canon EOS R5 on day one and to those from today, they're a little bit different. And obviously not in a bad way, so don't get me wrong here, but that's why I want to share this with you guys so you can decide if the R5 is actually the camera that you're looking for. And the first huge marketing feature everyone was talking about and that we need to talk about today is the 8K and 4K HQ feature. And obviously, yes, you can use both of them to record your videos. And I actually thought that I will use it a lot whenever I want to record some B-roll shots, for example, but in the end it turns out it's actually more like a gimmick that you like to check out for sure, but in the end you actually use more practical modes to make your whole workflow way easier. Of course, it is really cool to record some 8K footage that can easily crash your computer, but currently it's actually not that necessary, because most of the people don't have 8K monitors and even 4K is just on the rise, and it's just a ton of data that fills up your hard drives really fast. So in the end, if you record in 8K, your whole workflow gets way harder and the benefit is fairly small. In my case, I personally use all the 4K modes up to 120 FPS a lot all the time, and I personally don't know anyone who bought the R5 because of the 8K recording mode. So especially if you want to use the R5 as your main video camera, don't be too hyped. In 99% of the cases 4K will be your main shooting setting. But now let's move on to the second aspect that we need to talk about, and this one is all about lenses. And yes, if you buy any Canon RF mount camera, you can buy a lot of high-end premium lenses. But exactly that's the point. The current RF market gets bigger and better for sure, but we are still at the beginning of this whole journey. In most cases there are just these premium lenses out there, except of a couple of budget lenses like the 50mm for €200 or the 35mm for €500. So what I mean is that you need to be sure that you can spend that amount of money on premium lenses if you buy this kind of cameras. Of course, what I need to mention and what I highly recommend is that you can still use your old EF glass on the RF mount, and I do that all the time with my EF 70-200 2.8 IS2, for example. That is actually one of the best moves Canon did when they introduced their new mount, because it makes it way easier for us to make the jump to the RF mount, which is clearly the best choice right now and in the future. So if you want to buy the Canon R5, I highly recommend to buy this adapter here, especially if you have EF lenses at home or if you can't afford a couple of RF premium lenses right now. This actually makes things way easier, and I still love to use the EF 70-200 here in combination with the R5 because it's just great. But in the long run I will definitely switch to the RF version. Another thing that most of the people don't really talk about are memory cards, and yes, if you want to use all the features of the Canon R5 you need CF Express cards. And in this case probably a big one if you want to record in 4K or even 8K. When I got my R5 I didn't have one because the market was crazy in that time, the prices were actually really high, but I definitely noticed that there was no way that I would use the R5 without any CF Express cards. And because I knew that I need a lot of storage for my video productions as well, I decided to buy a 512GB card for around €450, and that's what I highly recommend to buy if you're someone who wants to record a lot of 4K videos as well. So yeah, what you should notice is that next to the €4,500 for the Canon R5, you need to spend a lot of money on a CF Express card as well, because they are necessary. Because yes, if you don't use them it is really easy to run into problems, so definitely buy a good and fast CF Express card to avoid all kind of problems. But one of the most important topics that we need to talk about is that the Canon R5 is a hybrid camera, so it's made for video and photo. So if you're looking for a camera that you can easily use for a variety of things, this camera is the way to go. But of course there are cameras out there that are made for these specific things, and these cameras can handle that a little bit better because they set their focus on that. If you're just looking for a video camera, for example, you can easily pick a different camera, especially if you don't need any of those photography options a lot. But especially if you like to do both, so video and photo, the Canon R5 is actually one of the best cameras that you can buy. And of course we need to talk about overheating as well, because it was such a huge topic in the whole community, but here I definitely need to say that I never had any problems with that. Mostly for sure because I never never used any 8K options, but whenever I went out there to record some 4K 120fps B-roll clips, for example, it wasn't a huge problem as well. So yeah, especially if you don't want to record some long form 8K content as an example, the overheating won't actually bother you. And you can even use any external recorders like the Atomos Ninja, for example, to have even less problems here as well. But as I already mentioned, this is a hybrid camera, so it's great for photography and video, but if you need mostly a video camera, it might be better to buy such a camera. All in all, I definitely need to say that I absolutely love this camera. I use it in all kind of situations and the overall quality is just phenomenal. But yeah, these are the most important things that you should know about the Canon EOS R5, especially if you're looking for a hybrid camera. So, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're new, don't forget to smash that subscribe button to stay updated for upcoming videos, and I'll see you in the next video.